Hi everyone, my name is David London. I'm a magician, storyteller, and author. The last time I was here in 2012, I gave a talk called What is Magic, which is a subject I'd been thinking about for 25 years at the point I gave this talk. Tonight is a little bit different. I'm going to be talking about Synthesystems, which is a subject that has only recently come into my purview several months ago, so you'll be hearing very current ideas and very current research. All right, so what is a synthesystem? A synthesystem is a term I made up to describe various systems of synthesis, various systems that are used to take one or more different things and create one new thing. Now, the word synthesystem itself is what's called a portmanteau. This is a literary phrase used to describe two words that are combined together, both in their how you say them as well as their meaning. I've cited some examples here: spork, smog, and my favorite, billory. The earliest form of synthesystem or intentional synthesystem that I've been able to discover is a tradition called Patikta, which is a rabbinic tradition from the 3rd century where a rabbi would take a phrase from the Torah and a phrase from the Talmud and combine them and use that as source material to provide a sermon. Now, we jump ahead from the 3rd century about 1,200 years and we arrive at alchemy, which is itself an inherent philosophical synthesystem, which is exploring the synthesis of opposite sides of the human psyche, the male and the female, the unconscious and the conscious. Jump ahead another 350 years and Tristan Tzar, one of the founders of the Dada movement, introduces this concept of a Dada poem. You cut apart a pre-existing text and you paste it back together to create a brand new text. From Dadaism, we quickly move right into Surrealism. And Surrealism at its core is inherently a synthesystem, exploring what happens when we combine dream and reality, conscious and unconscious, imagination and everyday life, and desire and action. Now, not just in its core structure, but also in its actual practices, Surrealism explores synthesystems in depth. This is an example of an exquisite corpse, which is a game that is played with multiple people contributing to a drawing to create something without knowing what anybody else has drawn. Now, this example of a surrealist game is also sort of brings into the mind the notion of collaboration, two minds coming together as a synthesystem to arrive at a solution which neither parties would have arrived at individually. I think the same could be said for love as well. Another surrealist practice, also starting with the Dada movement, is the act of collage, a very literal synthesystem, tearing apart of images and pasting them back together to create a new image. Jump ahead about 30 years and we arrive at the time of the Beat generation. Oh, no, I'm off. I wanted to point out here that adhesives could actually be viewed as sort of the magical agent of the literal synthesystem. These magical tools are used to literally take the one or more different things and combine them together to create one new thing. Here we go. We jump ahead to the Beat generation. We have the collaboration of William Burroughs and Brian Gysin and their exploration of the cut-up. Here they, in 1964, they published a book called The Third Mind, which was really exploring what happens when you cut apart pieces of text and image and paste them back together, as well as the collaborative element as well. Here we're seeing images of the tarot card, and this is my moment to talk about divination. All forms of divination, whether it be tarot or the I Ching or runes, is a synthesystem through chance, combining random elements with which to provide a jumping off point for interpretation. Now, inherent in divination as well as surrealist games is this notion of synchronicity, the notion that two or more events that are unrelated causally have a deeper significance. Another inherent concept in both divination as well as surrealist games is the metaphor, the combining of two different things to create a new meaning. Here I'm referencing a phrase called combinatorial creativity, although it could be argued that all creativity is actually combinatorial and is actually a result of synthesis. Here I'm citing the Gutenberg press, which itself emerged when Gutenberg, when it dawned on him that he could combine a wine press with movable type and thus transforming the way that we make books. In 1964, a really seminal text by philosopher and psychologist Arthur Koestler, The Act of Creation, puts forward two very important ideas. One, colliding matrices of thought being the source of all creative ideas as well as humor. And now jumping on to bigger picture synthesystems, a quick reminder here that we ourselves as individual creatures are the result of a synthesystem, the result of the combining of our mother's egg and our father's sperm. Continuing to go bigger picture here. Another brief reminder that this planet itself, everything that we know as physical reality, emerged out of a synthesystem, the combination of space, rocks, and matter combining together to create and form this planet, the sphere that we live on. Switching back to the human component, dreams are a perfect example of a synthesystem, something we enter into every night, combining everything we thought of previously, our experiences, our previous dreams and our imaginings to create new, imagined realities. And lastly, I'd like to say that consciousness itself could be viewed as a synthesystem, forever in our brains processing everything that we experience and everything that we think to create our understanding of reality. So my takeaway here today is that synthesystems are in fact all around us, and I believe that they are a subject that deserve greater research and greater appreciation.